Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Section 305 Special Edition. I'm Raul Pagan here with my co-worker from the Miami Heat and mostly hyped person that's gonna
Let's
be
go!
in tonight's episode. We got Nick Dupont, which has been waiting for this moment. I'm not only talking about this season's championship, like from last season, and then all of a sudden having expectations that can the Panthers actually do a back-to-back? I mean, two appearances in the Stanley Cup, and then they actually were not the favorites in the Eastern Conference. Like they were being discussed, they were in the conversation, but they were actually not the ones that most people selected for them to go all the way again and try to do a back-to-back. At the same time, a third straight appearance at the Stanley Cup. Nick Dupont, how's it going?
Hey man, I mean my freaking mouth hurts from smiling too much, man. I cannot contain my excitement for how happy I am for this team to be winning back to back. Start being a fan from 2009 and learning about all the history and just having this, it's a dream, man. Like yesterday, I couldn't even process the idea that we were even going into a game 6 to go back to back. Like it was just I could not believe it and I couldn't understand it. And now that we got it, is just it's surreal. Such a surreal moment.
Definitely.
Man. I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the future.
Basically, this is actually like the second celebration I'm having in 2025. I know Nick and I mean not Coley. I was actually gonna include him. He's got a long way to go for his teams to win a championship in like every single different
We'll get there.
North American sports league like NBA, MLB, NFL, NHL. But including let's just say Anthony, which both of them are excused for today. You and me are doing a special edition episodes because it's a big moment to basically celebrate. At the same time, give a little bit perspective and information of their journey towards it. What are they possibly becoming, and what's next for them? And so you already know I'm a Florida Gator, so this is actually my second celebration. You already know
It's okay. We can get along here. We can get along here. It's okay.
I mean, come on, it's the state of Florida. I know that's in the north. We're in the south. So, talking about the south, if you guys can read it on the screen, the Panthers become the first team of South Florida to go back-to-back champs since the Miami Heat in 2012-2013 after they beat the Edmonton Oilers 5-1 in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup. All right, so let's go straight to the first question. Are the Florida Panthers officially a dynasty?
I'm going to answer it first, Raul. I'm going to say, yeah, I would like to say they're a dynasty. You know, they've made 3 Stanley Cups. They've won 2 out of the 3 Stanley Cups. They've kept their core 9 guys together, and every year they're getting better. And when you have a head coach like Paul Maurice and you have a guy like Alexander Barkov, a defensive-minded center who can facilitate, it's just it's a recipe for success. That's what it is. Your team, the foundation that this team has right now is incredible. And, you know, with this upcoming free agency with Marchand, Ekblad, and Sam Bennett going to be going soon, I really think they're going to be coming back and re-signing with us because this is a destination now.
You know they're going to be looking for big contract extensions, like not type of NBA, MLB, and NFL. Like we all know that.
Of course, right? But as an NHL player, though, it makes more sense to make $8 million a year in Florida than $10 million a year in Toronto, just for the money standards and the income tax.
Of course, exactly.
So I can see Aaron Ekblad taking a pay cut. I could see Sam Bennett want to take maybe a couple million off of his like expected deal. I could see Brad Marchand maybe wanting to take like a couple mil off. Maybe not Marchand as much, but he has become a fan favorite around here, and I know we're probably going to prioritize Sam Bennett. But if we can maintain Bennett or at least one of those other guys, I think we're going to have another championship on our hands. Maybe not next year. I don't want to say it too soon, even though my friend Alex Reyes would say we're going to be repeating.
But I mean, now they're trying to look for the three-peat.
I mean, hey, man. It's too soon. It's too soon. I'm too nervous to say.
Of course. I mean, like, did we expect them to like try to make a run back to back? I mean, we always expect that from any team that wins a championship. Like, and it includes every single North American Professional League, like in the MLB, where the Dodgers are expecting, especially with the team that they have, to go back to back. The Oklahoma City Thunder, if they win tomorrow, which we'll be talking about that before game time, like they're expected to be another contending favorite team for next season. In the NFL, like the Philadelphia Eagles just won. Yeah, they lost some pieces, but at the same time, they know how to recover those type of positions that they lose, and they still look like in the NFC. Obviously, the favorites. You've seen some of the teams that are basically are not looking the same as we've seen through this couple of years in this decade. So the Eagles definitely are the favorite team in the NFC. Obviously, in the AFC, it's more competitive. So whoever they face, if they go all the way again to the Super Bowl, is going to be equally or more difficult than when they face the Kansas City Chiefs. Both times they made the Super Bowl. But now the Florida Panthers this season, they didn't have the most points in their Eastern Conference. They were not in the first positions. I mean, the teams that they face, they were superior to them. And now, this was interesting. So they had to go against a Tampa Bay Lightning team, which, including the Panthers, in the last 6 years, a Florida team has been in a Stanley Cup. 2020, 21, 2022, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, the difference between them and the Panthers, they won the first 2 years, and then they were trying to do a three-peat in 2022. The Panthers lost in 2023 against the Golden Knight Las Vegas. Then they reinvent themselves, blowing almost a 3-0 lead, but they took care of it at their ice to beat the Oilers. And now, coming into this series, you said in this podcast, and even I was afraid. The only one that was actually very confident was Anthony. But we were like, I mean, it's difficult with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl leading in points, combined goals and assists at the same time since the beginning of the season, and then all the way arriving back at the Stanley Cup. They had that how do you say, revenge mentality.
Yep. Yeah,
like they
were
needed
hungry.
to.
They were
They were hungry. They were determined, and at the same time, they were also explosive offensively, like the Panthers. There was only just one difference between both of them. I felt like the Oilers' defense was doing a great job, while the Panthers' defense, they were doing. Let's just say they had their good moments and off. In and out, let's just say, and sometimes Sergei Bobrovsky had to do mostly everything by himself. But something that I'm not gonna take credit from that defense, they were actually scoring goals, assisting, like they were playing offense and defense at the same time, focusing more on the offensive side. So that actually gave a boost to that team, how dangerously they looked in goal score, in assist. But what did I say before the ending of the Toronto Maple Leafs series, which we had to come back down 0-2, which we could have won both games? Since last postseason and this postseason, I always said, no matter how Sam Reinhart, Sam Bennett, you saw Brad Marchand, Tukachuk, and the rest of the crew doing their thing, Sergei Bobrovsky is an X-factor. Defense wins championships, and you saw how he closed out Game 7 last season, postseason, let's just say, allowing one goal and a lot of saves out of all the shots that were thrown at him. And then in Game 6, not the decisive, but at their home ice, in front of their fan base, in order to repeat as championships in front of their public, he executed it again. 29 shots towards him, 28 saves. I said it from the beginning, man.
I mean, you're not wrong. He's definitely the X. He's definitely is one of the X factors on this team. I actually want to point out the fact that what you said before, the defense, and how a lot of people had us not winning it this year, and just we were kind of the underdogs going into the season.
Yeah.
Coming off of the win last year, I very much remember how the NHL had the script of that we were going to be the winners of next year too, and that we were going to be this best team. And then as soon as free agency hit, everyone changed their opinions about this team. Tarasenko
Definitely.
left the team. Brandon Montour left the team. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Steven Lorentz. Like these guys that actually provided a very good role for us.
Definitely.
So with those losses, a lot of people think that we were going to be out of the run for the finals this year. It makes sense. But I've been saying it since the beginning of the year, and you even know it. We were going to make trades at the trade deadline, get our guys, and we were going to win this cup again. And that's what we did. With the loss of Brandon Montour, that was a huge loss for us, just because of how much he provided offensively on the defensive side of the ice. He was always in for power plays over Ekblad. It was always the one defenseman, 4 wingers. He would always be that one defenseman playing in. And now he made his money in Seattle. As soon as we lost him, there was a clear hole defensively. And who did we pick up? Seth Jones. The first player as well I would like to mention, named Seth to win the Stanley Cup.
Oh, really? That's a fun fact. That's a fun fact. I mean, another thing that we got to talk about that defense is that, like, whenever there was a pair between either, let's just say, Seth Jones and Nico Mikola, or Aaron Ekblad and Gustav Forsling, they were actually like a dynamic dual pair on that defensive side and what they could provide for that team. And what's crazy is that this team has been like one of the best teams on the road in a playoff run. Like, they had 10 victories, tying the NHL record, and 61 goals. You know who they surpassed? They surpassed Wayne Gretzky's Los Angeles Kings 1993, who had 49. So they had 12 more, and you even said it yourself. I mean, whatever happens on our ice, we always do better on the road, and they literally proved that, especially in crucial moments when we had to win.
Absolutely. It's been all in the entire playoffs. The entire playoffs have been proving it. And every single closeout game that they had leading up to the Stanley Cup was away. And they had to close out all of those games away. Game 7 in Toronto. Game 5 in Carolina.
And blowouts.
Blowouts. All of them were blowouts too. That's the incredible thing. That is the most incredible thing about it.
And at the same time, like, as a collective team, like, you've seen them with their confidence that no matter if they were down in a series, like, they knew that in big moments they had to execute and they had to, like, appear, and every single one individually had to do their part in order for them to win. But at the same time, what I told you in the last podcast at the same time, like, Paul Morris, and you even were basically being grateful that a coach like him has been in 3 years. And what do we had in 3 years? 3 Stanley Cup appearances, 2 championships. And you know what's crazy? Like, I don't know if this is a fun fact or, like, basically, like, interesting or weird fact, but this guy has the most losses as a head coach. At the same time, he became the youngest at 43 in 2010 to be coaching in 1,000 games. And so, like, people were talking about actually individuals like him, like, when is he going to win it? When is he going to bring the teams that he's coaching to the biggest stage? And in a 3-year span, he's already proven why he actually, since there's a question right there in the screen, where does
Paul I was actually going to ask you that myself. You sound very highly of him. So where do you rank him?
I mean, he definitely, remember, chips, that basically helps your resume. At the same time, it resuscitate your career when you've had, like, downfalls or negative talks about you because you haven't made it to, like, the biggest stage and you haven't captured the most valuable and important in the NHL, which is actually a championship over Coach of the Year, or when you're a player winning Conn Smith in the playoffs, winning the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, which obviously in the NHL they got different names towards it. I know we're not gonna get to that because we don't got time for that. But right now, like, Paul Morris has made his stamp as a head coach because seeing what he did through other teams and what he's already done to states, which, come on, Nick, be real with me. When we talk about Florida, we talk about the tropical sunshine weather. We talk about the beaches, like the entertainment, music, celebrities, and all around. And in sports, we focus more about the Miami Heat, the Marlins, which obviously they haven't won a World Series since 2003, but we still talk about them through their ups and downs, mostly downs. The Miami Dolphins, like we're still waiting for them to have it. Let's not even talk about that. Maybe we'll have that topic for another day.
Don't worry, that'll be a special topic for another day. A whole hour of me ranting about Chris Greer.
Exactly. So basically, when you talk about a hockey team, you talk about more like in the north side. I'm not only talking about Canada. I'm talking about Detroit. I'm talking about Philadelphia. I'm talking about like Boston,
Minnesota,
east side, north side, where the cold weather is. And then all of a sudden we got a state of Florida with two different teams in the last 6 Stanley Cup making their appearances. One that almost did a three-peat, and then one that fell in their second appearance in the Stanley Cup, but then reinvent themselves in the last 2. And now, obviously, they're going to try to look for a three-peat. So why they shouldn't be considered a dynasty? For me, they definitely a dynasty. I mean, for what? When were they founded? 1993, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 93.
They were
made
established.
Their first finals in 95, 96.
They were established in 1993, and like that's a team that, like the Miami Heat, when they were established in 1989. Yeah, they have expectations. Yeah, that's actually a good destination for players, athletes, celebrities, big important, how do you say, public figures to want to join that type of situation, organizations. And so, yeah, you're expecting that they can, at a short timing, do a lot of noise. But at the same time, like, compared to teams that have been established in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and still haven't won a championship. I'm not only talking about NHL. I'm talking about NBA. Why shouldn't they be considered a dynasty, especially if they run it again with the same core? They make it to the Stanley Cup, win or lose. We're going to see something similar with the Miami Heat from 2011 to 2014. 4 final appearances. They lost the first. They won the second and third, and then they lost the fourth. That's something actually that we can see coming next season. Obviously, they're going to want to go for the three-peat. And with this same core that they basically feel comfortable with each other, when you got pieces that can execute, like unexpected hero, Brad Marchand. I know he's a veteran. I know he's a champion with the Boston Bruins in his rookie season. But all right, when you're talking about somebody that's going to come up with the clutch, you're talking about Sam Bennett, Sam Reinhart, Matthew Tkachuk, people that have been there for a couple of years with that team, or others. You've seen Brad Marchand basically saving our lives in 2 situations throughout this series.
Hey, man, from a rival to a hometown hero. That's just what happens in this sport, you know? The city of Florida has officially adopted Brad Marchand as one of his own. He is the Rat King. It's no longer Matthew Tkachuk. It's Brad Marchand.
And what's crazy is that we've seen something similar since, look what it says in the screen. They have it. This is the first South Florida team to do this since the Miami Heat. And when the Heat knew that they needed to repeat, they knew they had to hire somebody rival.
It's funny. It's
big
funny you mentioned
piece. Big
It's
piece.
funny you mentioned the
You know
Miami
where
Heat
I'm going.
back to back too.
You know where I'm going with it. What did they have to do? You know where I'm going with it. They had to go for Ray Allen. They had to bring him from Boston, and basically that's what you saw, something similar from the Florida Panthers. I mean, when they've been talking about certain teams that just win a championship one season, and already talking about the future, like they've had so many appearances in the championship. Like they were already talking about the Denver Nuggets when they won the first chip. They were already talking about the Boston Celtics, where they had so many two final appearances, but so many Eastern Conference final appearances if they're already a dynasty. And no, like in order to become it, you need at least like in a short span of 4 to 5 years, 3 appearances in the championship game, whichever they call it, Super Bowl, Stanley Cup, NBA Finals, World Series. Like in a short span, if you have those so many appearances and at the same time minimum 2 chips, like and right now that's why I consider the Kansas City Chiefs being a dynasty. Look what have they done?
Well, of course, yeah, of course they're a dynasty. They've been a dynasty
through the NFL. The Panthers right now, the Tampa Bay Lightning, they were looking, but after that, let's just say they made a little downfall, still making it to the playoffs, but not being like the favorite team.
Well, let's see, man. I hope we get the 3-peat, but so far there's a
like
current
in the
trend
Eastern,
with
like in the Eastern, like who do you see? I mean, I know that you want to talk about this before we end the show, like free agency, but right now, before going to that, which is a team in the East that you say, I mean, they look superior to the Panthers coming up next season?
I mean, after this playoff run, nobody, especially considering that Mitch Marner doesn't want to go back to Toronto. Carolina's in shambles at the moment. They're going to be looking to rebuild, not rebuild, but just revamp their team and end up with the same results as this year. There's really no team right now that can compete with Florida. Maybe Washington. I know that TJ OC just retired.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I think Washington could make some noise because they were the one seed this year. They were like the 1 or 2 seed this year.
But they still got eliminated and didn't make it all.
But regardless, I really like their team, and in my eyes, they were the more dangerous team to play over Carolina just because of their advantages and disadvantages on and off the ice. Well, no, sorry, not.
Well, just to make it, they were number 1 in their division, Metropolitan, and they were number 1 in the Eastern Conference. So yeah, they were number 1 in the Eastern and in their own division, where the Carolina Hurricanes were second.
That's why, man. It was a battle regardless, that series. But I genuinely wanted to see OV play against Brad Marchand. I thought that would have been a lot more fun. But I mean, I don't really care. We won our championship. I'm happy regardless of the result.
Yeah, and at the same time in the Atlantic Division, like the Maple Leafs, that's a team that we knocked down in the second round. In the first round, we knocked down the Tampa Bay Lightnings. Both were superior towards us. Then in the third round, the last one, we were supposed to face Washington. But then Carolina made a run, and they actually had more points. And during the playoffs, they were actually playing like
they played their game of hockey. They played
their hockey. But then when they faced the Panthers, it was a whole different situation. And then both teams coming in, both were explosive offensively. Defensively, I gave a little bit, and I said that in the last podcast, the edge to the Oilers, because you see like the goals allowed per game during every single series that they had. But then I gave the edge to the Panthers defense. Like I just said, offensively, they were producing even more in goals and assists. And then when you got between Stuart Skinner and Sergei Bobrovsky, Stuart Skinner, the reason why he only allowed 22 goals in the first 3 series, how many shots were landed towards him? 244.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
when Sergei Bobrovsky had over 300, 300, man, like
he couldn't run with us.
Most definitely, I agree with that. But you know what's crazy? What Bobrovsky had to deal with. You know what I'm saying? All the shots towards him and all the saves. I'll give you a fun fact right over here. Last postseason, just to end this question, where does this team rank in history? Because we can be talking about the teams that went like back to back, like the Edmonton Oilers when they had Wayne Gretzky. We can talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, the Oilers had the 80s on luck with Wayne Gretzky.
I mean, same thing with the Islanders in the 80s. In the early 80s, they were amazing.
But like, obviously, we're gonna give the edge to the Oilers being like the best team ranked. Especially how they dominated in the 80s. I mean, they were a mixture of the Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers. Like they were gonna win either way. If it was Boston or Lakers, well, they were combined in that decade, especially having the best player to ever live. So when we're talking about other teams being like top ranked, I mean, right now maybe we're going over the edge, but can we give them a minimum top 10 of all time? Maybe whatever happens next season, top 5. Because I
I
mean,
mean,
going to
I
going
don't
to
know about
back
top
to
five, maybe top 10. If they win another championship next year, yeah, I'm gonna put them in the top five, 100%.
that's what I'm
But
saying.
they,
That's what I'm saying. Because right now, like back to back, they're like one of the how do you say? They're only one of the like top, like if I'm not mistaken, 5, 6 teams who ever go back to back. We got the Penguins, we got the Lightning, we got the Oilers, we got the Red Wings, we got the Canadians. So yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the Islanders. So they're like one of the 7 teams, 8 to go back to back in NHL history.
yeah,
So I
it's all
mean
right. It's all
that's so
right.
you
Yeah.
so you already got to put them in the top 10,
No, of
especially
course.
with
That's why. Like, I just give them one more championship though, and it's like an official dynasty. That's a top 5 dynasty in my eyes.
So we already consider them like I know this debate show, but at the same time I'm gonna be like the most ignorant person
I mean,
throughout
hey man, you're gonna have a hard
like
time
through
debating with me today. If you're talking negatively about the Florida Panthers, which I know you won't today, we're not gonna have that many arguments. Unfortunately, this is just the way it's gonna go, man.
exactly. And so like this was a special edition episode. So basically like maybe we could have disagreed in some parts, which we haven't, but we're actually analyzing this team on the
Yeah,
run
man.
that they have and how they finished. And what's crazy is that I actually thought like for the second straight year, either Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl was gonna win Conn Smith Award because both of them, come on, man, they balled. They combined for
I'm sorry.
60. They combined for 66
Connor
points.
McDavid had
I mean,
one goal in the finals. One goal, regardless of that. Connor McDavid is your best player. He needs to be scoring more than one goal. I am sorry. That is ridiculous. And Leon Draisaitl, if anything, deserved to be the main guy to win that trophy.
yeah,
For
that's what I'm
Edmonton.
saying. But at the same time, bro, he distributed. Like he had 26 assists. If he wasn't scoring goals
No, but
throughout the
you can't.
postseason, he had
I'm
7
sorry.
goals, 26 assists. I know he's the main guy, but and then that's gonna be our last topic. Does this affect Connor McDavid's legacy? I understand Sam Bennett. He deserved it. I mean, he led in goals, like 15 goals, 15 goals. And then, but at the same time, when you see this team, I mean, look at the difference between their offense, like both teams' offense. When you got 6 players, almost 7, having over 20 points during the postseason, that includes Carter Verhaeghe, which, bro, he looked like Steve Nash, Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd, 16 assists. And then 7 goals just to add up to 23 points. When you got Sam Reinhart, 4 goals into clinch. That's
Yeah,
the second
that was
time.
nuts.
I
That
mean,
was nuts.
forget about the hat trick. He surpassed the hat trick. Man,
You
that's
see,
crazy.
you saw you woke up this morning with hats outside of his house?
Come
A whole
on,
yard of
man.
hats outside of his
I
house. It
mean,
was
bro,
hilarious.
that's crazy. But Sam Reinhart and Carter Verhaeghe, they equally in points, 23-23. Obviously, Reinhart had 4 more goals and then 4 less assists than Carter Verhaeghe. Then you got Matthew Tkachuk with 23 points as well, with 8 goals and 15 assists. And then you got 2 guys that also equally in points, 22, Sam Bennett, Alexander Barkov. You got Brad Marchand that equally in goals and assists, 10 and 10, to add up to 20 points. And he was the unexpected hero for this team, the veteran who knows what it takes to win a championship, especially in his rookie year. Then you can talk about Luos Starinen, Anton Lundell, Evan Rodriguez. And then on the defensive side, when you got Aaron Ekblad having 13 points, Nate Schmidt, 12 points, Seth Jones, 9 points. I mean, bro, this was a collective team. So how can we not rank? They should probably win best team at the ESPYs. They should definitely. I mean,
I hope so. They really should. This is one of the best. This team's better than last year's team, 100%.
I mean,
But dude, like this, they
so
better.
what? So why shouldn't they not be ranked as a dynasty when they basically have proven like with different rotation at the same time, no matter what, and now basically looking more dangerous when they definitely have a Hall of Fame coach when they're ranked like they're the seventh, eighth team to go back to back in NHL history. And like the best team ever was the '80s Oilers. You can talk about the Rangers at the same time. You can talk about the Detroit
You're
Red
really, you're
Wings.
really, you're really disrespecting those Montreal Canadiens teams, huh?
I mean, 76, 77, that was way, 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 way back. And we haven't seen a Canadian team win since 1993. We haven't seen the Oilers, which they also were, like I said, they were like the best dynasty in the 80s. And basically ending beginning of the 90s, that's where they were ending. And then we're seeing like a whole new different era of the NHL. But at the same time, like we haven't seen the Oilers win since 1990. We haven't seen a Canadian team win since 1993. Montreal Canadiens, they were in the 70s. Like, and obviously, like every single evolution of every single different North American professional sports, we're always gonna be comparing. We're always gonna be, you know, what I'm saying, having that conversation, like which was the best decade, the era, etc. But right now, where we're witnessing an NHL, I've heard so many different sports analysts talking about like the Panthers have made the NHL very, very entertaining and interesting of what they've accomplished in this past 3 seasons, combining this one. So they're definitely a dynasty. They're ranked one of the best teams that we've seen, and what we are expecting them throughout the rest of this decade, which is scary. What
You know,
Paul
I think the
Morris?
only person that would disagree with you on all this is Colia, and thankfully he's not here today.
That's why this is a special edition. You're not understanding. This is a special edition episode between you and me. If I'm not mistaken, you and me are the only ones that haven't missed that episode since we began the podcast.
Yeah,
And
man.
so
You're right.
we're getting the train rolling. This is not like a shot towards Anthony because he's always, other than working for the Miami, he also works for the Miami Marlins. Kolia also has so many projects going on. Like all four of us are exactly in the TV, radio, and sports industry. So that's how irrelevant and big we're trying to become here with this podcast because we're trying to basically prove to the world our how we know our knowledge towards the sports world. At the same time, how all of us help each other in every type of like production, coverage, and any other situation. And so that's basically what this podcast. You know that we're living in a mafia right now because everybody's doing podcasts. Like
Oh yeah.
people that are not actually doing this as a career job, athletes that are participating in their respective sports, and also outside they want to have a voice. So this is a war between everybody. And so here we're trying to like give different perspectives, uh different opinions, mindset, mentality, and knowledge, like I just said. And so this is something that we're going to continue to develop once we continue going through it weekly. But yeah, we were trying to make this entertaining as possible to our fan base, the public, the people that follow us.
Thank you for
And
supporting.
and thank you guys for supporting. And so let's end this segment with the last one, which since we already released everything that we wanted to talk about, the Florida Panthers, let's go to the west side of it, which Connor McDavid, like you just said, 1 goal in the whole series. And there was one situation which we dominated. That was actually our most dominant game, was game 3. We won 6-1, which we allowed 0 goals and assists towards the two dynamic duo that were leading in points throughout the postseason. Apart from our explosive offense, we did a great job defensively. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, this was our best defense performance throughout the whole playoffs because we did not contain. We stopped both McDavid and Draisaitl. So now seeing the outcome of them falling short to bring a Canadian team a championship since 1993, and the first for the Edmonton Oilers, which we already know that's Wayne Gretzky's city.
Yep.
That's Wayne Gretzky's city, and then Connor McDavid has been like the second best player in that organization. We can possibly debate that. Does this affect his legacy?
I mean, you definitely can say it affects his legacy. Even last year, man, he still hasn't won a championship. He has all these great awards. I honestly think next year we're gonna find out if he stays. But I think it's time for him to go. Like not for Edmonton to trade
No,
him,
no, yeah, yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
but I think it's time for Edmonton next season again to make better moves in free agency, see what they can do to build around McDavid and try to keep him happy. But McDavid's clearly not happy. He's lost 2 championships in a row, and the guys just they don't know how to close out against us. They couldn't close out last year, and they couldn't keep the series going this year.
I mean, they gave a better battle in Game 7 last season than like this game. Like this game, they looked like they threw the towel from the beginning. From the beginning,
Yeah.
and then the end of the second period where the Panthers were up 3-0, and then in the fourth, I mean in the third, you saw that basically you didn't see a sign of life from this team coming back. And it's disappointing because when you got two players with the same amount of points leading with 33 in total during the postseason, they had 10 more than our 3 leaders of the
It's
team.
nuts.
And when obviously
Nuts.
Draisaitl also executed in 2 game-winning goals. Like he was the most clutch. Obviously, he had 4 more goals than McDavid, 4 assists less than McDavid. Like this was a dynamic duo, and for them basically to not produce in like the most important and crucial games, like you expected more out of Connor McDavid than Leon Draisaitl. But at the same
I mean,
time,
hey, man, but that's the way it should be, though. I mean, again, you have a guy, you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl obviously very good, but he's not Connor McDavid. Nobody's Connor McDavid.
yeah, of course, of course. I mean,
He
in a 10-year span, I gotta disagree with you in this case because I know championships means a lot. You know what I'm saying, for your resume to be considered one of the best players of all time. Like at this moment, like you seeing NHL players that you see how they develop, you see their stats, the awards that they're basically capturing year by year, the new generation, this and that, the veterans. I mean, in a 10-year span, I mean, Connor McDavid has done a lot. He's been elected
100%.
numerous times to NHL All-Star Game, mostly as a captain. There was only 1 year he was selected to NHL All-Star Game and was not elected captain. That was 2023. Last year he was. And you've seen him win so many competitions and the All-Star skills like the fastest skater, stick handling, accurate shooting, golden skate champion. I know those are just simple awards, but then you talk about like the Ross Trophy, the Hart Memorial Trophy, Tim Lindsay, and like best NHL player in the ESPYs from 2022 to 2024. 3 straight years. And he became,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken, the 7th, if it was the 6th player ever to win the Conn Smythe Trophy without winning the championship. You know, like that's why I was like watching both him and Leon Draisaitl's stats. If it wasn't for Sam Bennett having 15 goals and basically leading the NHL postseason, him and Leon Draisaitl could actually battle for that. That's why I'm not taking credit from Sam Bennett. He deserved it more than anybody. And he became the first Florida Panther player in franchise history to win it. But when you see what he's done in a 10-year span, I mean, can we debate so we can end this segment? Is it harder as a great superstar player, as basically the face of the league, to win a championship? Because in order to win an NHL championship, it has to be a collective team like we see the Panthers do back to back. Is it more harder than being like the face of the NBA and winning a championship, being the face of the MLB, winning a World Series, being the face of the NFL and winning Super Bowls?
Well, I would honestly like to agree. I don't know about the Super Bowl one, But I would definitely agree that it is harder to win a Stanley Cup than it is to win an NBA trophy than being a superstar in the league. And you can look at McDavid as a perfect example for this, dude.
I
Like
mean, yeah.
the Edmonton Oilers, they have to have 4 different lines. No, you're good. They have 4 different lines of people coming to the game. Out of those 4 lines, realistically, they have 3 lines that are bench that are very good. The 4th line, very iffy, just like all regular teams. Even our 4th line is very iffy. But still, they don't know how to work together. Like their team just they can't get it done, man. Like you look at our guys in the ice and they're coordinated to every little move. Like they're doing backwards passes, knowing like where everyone's gonna be at every single moment in time. Like their chemistry is insane. And that's just something that McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers have not found, only against the LA Kings in the first round. But outside of the LA Kings in the first round, they can't do shit because, they don't have a great team, or they don't have a great team surrounded by McDavid. And that's just the sad truth about it. They only have Draisaitl, Skinner, Kane, Perry's curse continues.
Perry balled. Like he contributed.
Hey,
he
man,
for
the
that
Perry
team.
curse continues.
Yep, most definitely. And so, like, I gotta say it does not affect his legacy because, all right, I agree with you. NFL is different. Like NFL, like Tom Brady was just something different. And the New England Patriots dynasty was something different that we're seeing similar with the Kansas City Chiefs, but we're probably not going to be seeing it with another team. Like you've seen this AFC teams reinforce, and they still cannot go pass by the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? So until we see that, we cannot even talk about a team possibly becoming like a legacy during the nearest future. And the NFL is a win or go home situation. Like it's one and done. Here you got to win 7-game series in order to make it to the Stanley Cup. And you know how many tackles that every single one of them receive? Like in NFL, it's just one game, then you can rest 7 days. Like they gotta suffer these consequences like at least 2-3 times a week during the playoffs. Like it's another different type of situation. In the NBA, like it's actually you get how do you say it's less probable that you get injured in the NBA than in the NHL. Like these people are tackling each other.
Hell, man, Alexander Barkov played with stitches on his hand the entire series.
There you go, man. And then at the same time, the MLB. Come on, let's not even talk about MLB. You better be healthy. Like unless like you pull a hamstring, like with a bad movement, it could be in the defensive side of the park or the offensive side batting. Like NHL championships are very, very difficult, and I actually like didn't see it that way until like recently. So I gotta give respect, you know what I'm saying, to this type of teams that you already gotta basically consider them like a dynasty when they're going through so many playoff experiences and then appearances in the Stanley Cup 3 years in a row. That is so difficult. Tampa Bay Lightning was the last team to do it. Like when is the last team in the last decade and the beginning of the 2000s to ever do that? Like the only teams to win back-to-back since the beginning of 2000 were the Penguins, the Lightning, and the Panthers. So that's why the Panthers, in every single question, that let's just say we gotta give credit to Anthony Aguirre as in the production side. He's the one that test us today in this sports show, and Kolia also gave basically a take. Like they check all the boxes. Just to end this segment, just to end this episode, they checked all the boxes, and the only thing that I'm disagreeing with the questions that we had was the last one. It does not affect Connor McDavid's legacy. Obviously, like if he goes to a contending team and he is not the reason why they win, or he is the reason why they lose, then we can have another conversation how it could affect his resume in the nearest future.
All right.
So basically, that's what we got for all of you guys. Cause I know that we got a parade to celebrate on Sunday, and I mean you were at the game if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I wasn't at the game, but I was at the Iceplex. But I went straight to the stadium afterwards, so I was celebrating with the news stations and the local people coming around.
I got you. So Nick is still celebrating, and I know, like with your other job,
I'm gonna be celebrating all week. Don't worry, I'm gonna be celebrating all week.
Yes, sir. And so we're gonna be back tomorrow for another episode. This time, Cole is gonna be with us, but we got different type of sports teams that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about MLB, that Rafael Devers trade towards the San Francisco Giants. We're going to talk about what could happen tomorrow. Can we see the Thunder closing the series at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse?
I think we will.
Everything depends. Game time decision with Tyrese Haliburton, because I said the Thunder's winning 7 games. That's my prediction. But if Tyrese Haliburton with the calf strain is not available, Thunders have no excuse to not close out this series. And we're going to have lots of other headlines that we're going to speaking tomorrow, but I'm not going to give a teaser towards it. So, hey, Nick, it's always good seeing you. It was
always a pleasure.
It was a big topic that we had to talk about and celebrate, and we're going to do it the rest of the week until the parade's over. But I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Section 305.
Sounds good. See you tomorrow, Raul.
See you tomorrow, man. Take care.